Good evening all. I'm working on the town section of the layout using Gino Sharp's from Gino's Model Trains technique for building roads. And what I'm working on here is the street in front of the town. This is just to give you an idea of how things will lay out here. But anyway, the road currently comes down from the coal mine across the edge here, and then it runs, or will run, back to my heavy equipment dealer, which is right there where those glasses are sitting. So what I've done, Gino recommends using foam core, which I have here, and I found some down at Hobby Lobby, my favorite place, which is actually peel and stick. This is a piece that I've cut off the corner, but you can see it's got a peel and stick backing, which works well for me. I've got the painted foam insulation board down here. So what I did is I just measured the distance between my little street running scene here and the edge of my layout, left a little bit of space for some dirt, and I'm gonna make some construct some wooden guardrails out of some 1/8 inch balsa wood. So we'll see how that turns out. But if you haven't watched Gino's how-to on building roads, I suggest you do that. I'll put a link to it down here under the video. And so what I've done, as I said, I've got the foam core down, and then this section here, which is going to represent the street, I've cut just deep enough to get through the top surface layer of the foam board. And so that leaves you, just the styrofoam or foam sticking out here, and it's rough, and it kind of looks like asphalt, and that's the look I'm going for. So I don't know if you can see the marks in here, but I talked with Gino a little bit last night just to get his idea on widths of roadways and so forth. This here is going to be a 2-lane street. You can see the center line here, with room for parallel parking right over here. Then the buildings will sit approximately here and elevated a little bit on some of this. Let's see if I have any of it sitting around. Well, all right, this is going to look awful, but it's the back side of that matte material. So it's about the thickness of a sidewalk, at least in my mind it is. So I'll cut a rectangle of that is big enough to fit over this section, and then the buildings will sit up on top of that, and there'll be enough room for a sidewalk in front as we go down through here, parallel parking on the street. And then over here behind the buildings, where the street running scene is, there'll be about the same distance there for a little kind of a back alley sidewalk. The buildings, as you see them now, will not be sitting there. They're going to be obviously up front here, sort of in this configuration. And I've got some work to do on these. Always plenty of projects to do on a model railroad, but there's a missing roof, and I've got to work on these. But my thought here is to get one more building that is of the wider variety. I think there's a hotel maybe, which I think is, there's enough space in there for that building at least. I think it's fairly wide. And I want to use some of Gino's awning techniques on the front of these buildings. So, but to start, obviously you got to get the street down. So let me grab the tripod and put this back so I'm not making you all seasick. Okay. Be right back. So here we are. Let me move these out of the way for just a minute so you can see the back area. So as I said, buildings are going to go here. There's the street running section which comes down to an unloading ramp here. I'm going to sit down because I was completely out of the shot, and I may be still completely out of the shot in the last video, but anyway. I have this little unloading ramp sitting here right now, and this is just kind of a junk old representation of a flat car, but I've got this set so that regular flat cars, the width will bump up against the sides here, and the coupler kind of slides under the opening of the loading ramp. And you know, when you got a regular flat car here, obviously it sits higher, and the level of the bed of the flat car hits this perfectly. So, you know, it'll be easy for the guys to unload the heavy equipment down the ramp and into the yard here. On this side of the street running scene, I have some more foam board, and what I'm going to put back here is somewhere in this vicinity. I have a train station. There's sort of it'll kind of sit on an angle here, somewhere in that area. And I've also got, excuse my arm, a freight station as well. So my thought is to you know, put those in that area. This end of the foam board here is a little bit loose, so I may end up gluing that down, but you know, you kind of get the idea. Parking lot here, parking area over here. Right in here, I'm gonna redo this road. It was just kind of a temporary thing for me to kind of lay the roads in, to lay the turnouts and so forth. But so this will come up, and I'll put another road in which matches up with this. So what I'm going to do now is use Gino's technique for painting the roads. And I've got some black and white paint that I'm going to mix together, acrylic, and use his technique here for painting some roads, so you can kind of get a feel for what that's going to look like. So I'm going to pause the video here and go ahead and get that ready to go. Alright guys, I've got my paint palette set up here with a blob of black and a blob of white on there. And I'm going to go ahead and mix some of that and start doing some of the roadway here. So we'll see how this turns out. Need a little bit more white here. Alright, so I've just got a regular old, you know, $2 paintbrush here from, I don't know, Michael's or somewhere. So I'm going to take some white and some black here and just sort of mix in a, you know, a gray color. also does some cross and just lightly drug it over the foam board, and it created some nice divisions. So it's going to take a while to get this done, so I'm going to go ahead and record it, but I will speed up the process.